Let's talk about a big-time sweep, though. We haven't even talked about the scale of the landslide for Republicans in Virginia, John.
I mean, it's, the governorship, the lieutenant governorship, the attorney general's office. And I think it may still be slightly not totally certified, but I think the Virginia House of Delegates the House of Delegates is now going to go Republican. And this is a state that has not had a statewide Republican since 2009 when Bob McDonnell was governor. At the Senate level, at the gubernatorial level, the state was bright blue yesterday. And now, as of next January, the state's going to be almost entirely in control of Republicans. And that's a bloodbath. Well, and it's a bloodbath in a state that Democrats have dominated for the past decade.
The other piece was this frustration about the lack of fire. Why not fight for voting rights? Why not give speeches about, there was one speech given. One speech about democracy. It was beautiful. It was in Philadelphia, but no one's touched it since. Yep. And what is happening in sort of Republican America, it's not just critical race theory. It's saying, fraud happened. There people believe there was fraud, so they're fixing it. So Republican voters think Republicans are fake. Never mind that it's fake. That's right. Critical race theory isn't taught. It means something different to voters. They think it is. So Republicans are fixing it. Youngkin's going to ban it. And some of it is just a question for Democrats now. Do you adjust to a terrain that is not fair, that is not just, that is all fact-based? But at this tonight looks like it advantages Republicans.
And the exit polls showed that, which was interesting, that the coronavirus or that the virus was a very
low
non-importance to many of the voters there. It was education, which is code for white parents don't like the idea of teaching about race. And I mean, unfortunately, race is just the most palpable tool in the toolkit. It used to be of the Democratic Party back in the day when there were Dixiecrats, and now of the Republican Party. It just is powerful.
Youngkin basically ran on a number of lies, one of which is critical race theory being taught. He was going to end it being taught in our school. Well, it wasn't being taught in their schools. Also, the Republican Party now is just a party of, they just tell lies. The election was stolen. The insurrection wasn't an insurrection. It was a false flag operation. I think we have to deal with that. I think we have to find an effective strategy to have the American people understand that they have nothing but lying right now.
The stakes are high. When this election is over in Virginia, we will know. Have we seen the emergence of the Delta variant of Trumpism? The Delta variant of Trumpism. In other words, Youngkin, same disease, but spreads a lot faster and can get a lot more places.
Something is happening. Inflation is going up. By any measure, inflation is going up. And again, I sat next to a congressman from upstate New York at a dinner last night, and he said his constituents are worried about gas prices. They have to drive these long distances in rural areas, and now gas is high, and their wages got up a little bit, but not enough to pay for that. And so the point is that Bidenism seems to have failed with the American people in terms of their perception that it's actually helped them in their ordinary everyday lives.
There was all of this, talking about critical race theory and representing it as if it was happening in elementary school, which of course is not even being taught there. But there were a lot of these hot button cultural issues, I think, that Youngkin was really able to use to his advantage. I don't think that that's right because I think it was misrepresented. But this is now, I think, also the Republican playbook is to use these issues to scare people, basically, a feeling out of control, that everything's out of control with their children and they need to be protected from these people with this demagogues and this agenda, right?
Yeah, let's be clear. Some of it was dog whistle.
Yeah.
Right? Some of it was dog whistle racism.
1,000%.
But for a lot of voters, that's not what it was. It was more this anxiety when it comes to schooling, having had their children out of school for so long, and obviously those not being choices that they made, but that were dictated for them. They may have agreed with them, but many clearly disagreed.
I think we also see the enduring power of the culture wars, and the Republicans are better at playing this game because it's essentially white identity politics. That works for Republicans. We saw it in 2016, and we're seeing it in some of these races now, particularly in the McAuliffe race with the CRT issue in education.
So I watched Glenn Youngkin's interviews on Fox News, and he did nothing that he did not I mean, he worshipped at the altar of Donald Trump on Fox News. He flew an insurrection flag at his rallies. He simply didn't. He played dumb about a Zoom rally. He did not really put much distance between himself and Donald Trump on the big lie or the deadly insurrection in which police officers were maimed by flagpoles. So I think that the real ominous thing is that critical race theory, which isn't real, turned the suburbs 15 points to the Trump insurrection endorsed Republican. What do Democrats do about that?
One of the questions I have is if you're a Democrat sitting on Capitol Hill and you're from one of these swing districts in suburban areas, are you rethinking tonight your vote on this reconciliation package? Are you thinking maybe it's best we shouldn't do it? If I were sitting in the White House, if I were sitting in the leadership of in the Democratic councils in the Congress, I'd be worried about that. I'd be trying to firm these people up because there's going to be, I just know how this goes. I've experienced it. I know when things go badly, people begin to think of themselves.
You know, when Joe Biden was elected, he promised things would be normal again and we'd go back to that. And that's not what's happened. Yeah. And those Democrats that you're talking about are now probably sitting and thinking, well, we have to be clearer and crisper about what we want to do and what we're achieving because they haven't done that. And that hurt Terry McAuliffe. But maybe they are too liberal